Hi there, my name is Jamie Moore. If you haven't met already, I just wanted to share a little bit about my cancer experience, my cancer journey, as we might call it. In the summer or the spring of 2022, was driving home from Montreal out to my small town of Knowlton, getting ready to open up the marina, which I'm just about ready to do. So it would have been exactly pretty much 3 years ago. And as I was driving, I grazed my neck and I felt a lump. And I immediately knew, instinctually, I guess, that I needed to have this checked. Of course, I hoped it was nothing, but in the car, I called my local doctor's office and made an appointment. I figured I needed an appointment anyways to have a little checkup. So fast forward, I got the appointment for maybe 3 weeks ahead. And between that time, from when I first grazed my neck to when my appointment was supposed to be, I felt another 2 lumps appear. And I called the doctor again and just said, is there any way we could speed up the appointment? Could I be seen a little bit sooner? And they kindly offered for me to see the nurse practitioner. So I went to see her and she measured the lumps and she sent me in for an ultrasound. So I don't remember the timeline exactly. It's really hard. I'm sure if you've experienced any sort of medical journey like this, then it's all a bit of a blur. But finally, it would have been sometime in June. I went for originally what was supposed to be an ultrasound. I went all on my own to Cowansville, the BMP hospital. And once I felt my neck, once they did the ultrasound, I was feeling my neck all the time then. Once they did the ultrasound, they decided they needed to do a biopsy right then. And they didn't try to alarm me. Maybe had I known a bit more, I would have been alarmed. But I left the hospital with a big old bandage on my neck and I went to join my friends who had organized a wine tasting safari. So that I have great memories of. And I also have photos of myself with a huge bandage here and a big old lump. Fast forward to July. It sounds like so far in between. So there might have been more space there. But yeah, basically I was July 26, 2022 when I got called into my doctor's office and I was in Montreal once again getting supplies for the marina, and I received a call from the clinic and they said, if you could come in this afternoon and bring someone with you. And those words, it makes my body feel this like visceral reaction, just even re-sharing this, or it almost feels like re-experiencing it. You know it's not good. You know it's not good. So came home. I called Duncan, informed him of our afternoon plans, came home, mowed the lawn because I had an hour or two to kill. I never mow the lawn, but that's what I decided to do. And then I went in and my doctor told me that I had lymphoma. And I remember her eyebrows. I remember the look of like, I'm so sorry I have to tell you this. And it was just this like worry, this concern. In the meantime, I had met Val. We were talking about opening this yoga studio together. We were supposed to do a trial class later that day, which got canceled, of course. We were supposed to sign a lease. My doctor said, maybe don't sign that lease quite yet. And I like to think that she wasn't giving me a death wish or death sentence, but rather that she was just saying that maybe I should get more information before committing to something like this in case I needed to go right into treatment or things like that. So again, it's all been a blur since then. So much has happened. I quickly went into the process of, no, I didn't do anything actually. That summer, I was told that it's a watch and wait situation. Once I got the official diagnosis, so further tests were done, further biopsies, follicular lymphoma. It's an indolent type of lymphoma, which means that it's slow growing, it's chronic. So I was really baffled because I really thought that, okay, that's fine. I have cancer. I'll just beat the cancer. It's fine. I can do that. But then when I was told, no, you just got to watch and wait. You just got to watch and wait and see what happens. That was a whole other thing to wrap my head around. So now I was waiting and it was moving into the end of the summer. I remember working in the kitchen at the marina. I still had these lumps in my neck and they were starting to cause discomfort. It wasn't just for physical appearance that looked a bit funny. It was actually super uncomfortable. And so once I told my doctor that, she got me in for radiation. So in the fall of 2022, I had a very low dose of radiation in my neck, very few side effects. It did the trick to bring it down. But fast forward to more so into the winter. We were in Mexico. I remember it was the winter of 2023. And previous to this trip to Mexico, I had done 3 months of this really restricted diet, taking supplements, trying to cure my own cancer. And I'm not saying that that can't work for people. I'm just saying I don't want to do it anymore after 3 months. So when we went to Mexico, I enjoyed margaritas, I enjoyed tacos. And you know what? The lumps came back during that time. And I really wanted to believe that I looked forward to getting home in that moment. I looked forward to getting back into my routine of basically having a full-time job of doing food prep, because that's what it takes when you're doing this sort of effort to be really careful with what you eat, only putting pure things into your body. It wasn't a full-time job. I had another job too. I had many other jobs, so that's hard. But I was hoping that when I got back, got into that routine, the lumps would go away. I was hoping it would be as simple as that. And it wasn't. So furthermore, when I got back that winter, the lumps were still there and they were getting swollen in my cheeks, my jaw. It was super uncomfortable. I was still mostly teaching yoga. Thankfully, Val would jump in when I had any sort of doctor's appointment. So grateful we opened up the yoga studio that we just carried on with that anyways, but it was still tricky. I think it was a very healing process for me to teach, to be in that community, and yet I was still in pain. It would hurt when I would lie down and lift my head up. The pressure of these lumps in my face, these swollen lymph nodes, were so uncomfortable. So I would cry a lot. Duncan saw that a lot. I'm really happy I'm sharing this right now. And the reason I'm sharing it, it makes me relive it, even though I'm in a place right now where I'm not in pain. But it makes me realize why I'm doing this, which is to talk about the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society of Canada. And I could go on about my story, but really I'm just super grateful for that organization, because when I first got diagnosed, it was all very confusing, very, very confusing. Doctors are great, but they're not that great at certain things. And so I had a conversation with Megan, who is in the Vancouver office of the LLSC, and she probably gave me the most information that I could in such a tangible way. So I had an understanding of what was going on in my world and how it was being shaken up. So I'll never forget her. And she put me in touch with they have a really great organization where you get put with a volunteer. And ideally they try to match you with someone it's a peer support program. And ideally they try to match you with someone who has a similar type of blood cancer as you. I was really asking for a unicorn, because I was hoping to find someone who had the same blood cancer and who had also successfully gotten pregnant at some point. That was not my match. I had 2 people that I chatted with who I really, really am so grateful for those conversations as well. It also showed me that everybody's cancer experience is so incredibly different, and we all like to relate to each other, but it's really hard. It's really hard to relate because it's so different, even if you have the exact same type of blood cancer, or cancer. And then when I got asked 2 years ago, I think I was going through treatment. I got asked, so eventually I went and did BR, it's bendamustine rituximab. It's part chemotherapy, part immunotherapy. So that really helped. So that's where I was at when I was talking about the pain here. And I did 6 rounds of that. So every 4 weeks I would go in for 2 days, stay with Christy, was so taken care of by her and my Montreal friends. And I was always sick a couple days after, until finally by the last round or 2, they got me on the right medication for nausea. I'm just going to keep going, because this is for YouTube and I don't know how to edit. So here we are. And after the the pivotal moment. So I raised all this money with a group of people, my team, my support family, and as well as this whole community of Knowlton. If you were a part of that, you remember, you came to the events, you donated $5, $20. Everything was so incredibly appreciated, to the point where I won that year's Visionary of the Year campaign. with $136,000. My original goal was $25,000. I thought that was wild. I changed it to $50,000 once we got going, and I realized the potential. And in the end, we almost tripled that. So I couldn't believe it. It was such an incredible ride. I think that's why it's going on right now. We're now May 21st or something, and there's 15 more days of this fundraising. We've got, I think, 8 more candidates. I've been not super involved because I've been busy with other things, but I've been reminded of how important this is. And now we're at the final countdown. So I'm just doing what I can to raise money for this incredible cause. I'll be at the gala on June 6th. It's a Friday evening. If anyone wants to come with me, we can get a table together. I would absolutely love that. Your ticket for the gala, I think it's $50. I'll be sharing all of that, but that goes towards the LLSC as well. And it's a super lovely night, and people share their stories. And I got to be, forget what all the positions are called, but I was one of the members who shared their story last year. And it's such a beautiful experience to be a part of. I'm just so grateful to partake in this. And when I was the candidate and I had that event, that gala where I got called to be the winner, it was all super emotional, of course. And the next day I was scheduled for a biopsy because there was a mass in my stomach that was big, and they needed to get at it from my back. So it was a really big thing. I passed out after. Anyways, it's been a ride. It's been a ride. The fertility experience, that was crazy. I hear so many people of going through the egg retrieval process, and I'm so thankful that it's not like it was for me for a lot of people. I'm sure it was for some of you. So if you experienced a lot of discomfort, a lot of pain during the egg retrieval itself, along with a crazy reaction after of throwing up and fever and swollen vagina and all of this stuff, that's fucking weird. And you're not alone. You're not alone. So I'm sharing this with total vulnerability, and I'm not showered. I didn't care. I just felt this urge to come on and talk about my story. And I'm 40 years old. What I believe is going to happen is at the end of my maintenance experience, I'm going to have a scan. So probably in early 2026, I'll have a scan and it'll be clear. And then I'm going to lead a retreat with Val in Costa Rica in April next year. If you want to join, it's going to be incredible. We're already a third full, so you better get on it. And when I come back, so next summer, I'm going to start the process of IVF. That's the plan. And I know that this plan, there's a bunch of kinks that can be thrown into the plan. And I'm ready for it. Whatever happens, I'll figure it out. I'll be ready for it. And yeah, I'm really excited about this potential plan. So all of that to say, if you have $5, $20, $5,000, and you're not sure what to do with it, and you want to put it towards a good cause, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society of Canada, I can't recommend it enough. I'm so grateful to them, to their team who work so incredibly hard, and to every single person who donates their time, these candidates. I think like the 10 weeks I experienced, I think that's why I'm not so involved. I am still on the committee, but I'm not actively doing much because it was a lot. Those 10 weeks were a lot. So anyone who's doing it, I'm just so grateful for you because I know how hard it is and how much work you put into it. So thank you so much. And thank you for being here, for listening to this, for even just hearing my story. And I love you.